In this video, I'm going to be talking about 8-2, which is the order of operations. You might have heard the expression, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." That is what we use to help us remember the order of operations. So here we go. All you need to remember is PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. It stands for Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. But in math, it stands for something else. The P stands for parentheses. So anytime you have parentheses in a problem, you need to do what's inside there first. E stands for exponents, like b to the third power. Remember those little numbers up top. That would come second. After you've dealt with all parentheses and then any numbers with exponents, the next thing that you need to do is multiplication and division, and then you would do addition and subtraction. So notice how multiplication and addition are next to each other, and addition and subtraction are next to each other. After we do parentheses for P and then exponents, I'm going to do any multiplication or division in the order it appears from left to right. So if I had 1 times 2 divided by 2, I would do 1 times 2 and then divide by 2. I wouldn't start over here necessarily. You go left to right. Then with addition and subtraction, same thing. After you've done your parentheses, your exponents, your multiplication and division, then you'll do your addition and subtraction together, whatever appears first from left to right. So if I had, let's see, 3 minus 2 plus 1, even though it says addition, then subtraction, I'm going left to right. Those two go together in a group. So I would do 3 minus 2 is 1 plus 1. So PEMDAS is going to be really important in remembering the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's really all you have to memorize, and then you need to know that multiplication and division go together and addition and subtraction go together. So here's an example. I'm going to write out PEMDAS, and I like to write the M and D next to each other, the A and the S next to each other, so I know that I do these things at the same time, whichever comes first, left to right. It's not addition first, then all subtraction. So P stands for parentheses. I'm going to check if I have any parentheses, and I do. So I need to do what's inside these parentheses first. 19 minus 5 is 14, so I'm going to cross it out and replace it with the number 14. I don't have any other parentheses, so I'm done with my P. I also don't have any exponents, so I'm done with my E. And then I move on to multiplication and division. I'm going to go from left to right and do any multiplication or division, whatever comes first. If it's division that would come up first, I would do that. If it's multiplication, I would do that. In this case, I have 14 times 3. I like to rewrite the problem after every step because it makes it much more neat. So at this point, I have 14 times 3. I'm going to go ahead and do that. 14 times 3, 4 times 3 is 12. And 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So I have 42 plus 4. I don't have any other multiplication or division, so I'm done with that step. And now I have the last two steps, A and S, which stands for Aunt and Sally, or addition and subtraction. All I have is addition, so I go ahead and finish off with that. 42 plus 4 is 46, and that is my final answer. Now, some people might wonder, well, why do I have to do it in this order? Can't I just do it in any order and get the same thing? Well, let's see. If I just did everything in any order I wanted, let's see if I got the same thing. I'm going to leave this 46 up here since that was my answer. Let's see. If maybe I wanted to do plus 4. Maybe I wanted to do, let's see, 3 plus 4 first. So that's 7. And then I'll do 19 minus 5, equals 14. And then I have this time sign, so I'll times those together. 14 times 7, let's see, 4 times 7 is 28. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Uh-oh, I got 98 this time. Did I get 46? Not quite. So I can't just pick any order that I want to do things in. I have to follow PEMDAS, which is the order of operations. Okay, a long time ago, that's how the mathematicians decided that they would do things, because they realized that if you chose any order, you would get different answers. So in order to be on the same page mathematically, we all have to follow the same rule, which is PEMDAS. Let's look at another example. All right, my first step that I always do when I'm completing these problems is write out PEMDAS. Remember, The M and D go together and the A and S go together. So now let's follow it. Okay, let's start with P. Do I have any parentheses? Yes. So I'm going to take care of what's in the parentheses. I have 9 minus 6, which is 3. So I'm going to cross that out and write a 3. Done with that, because I have no more parentheses. I don't have any exponents, so I can cross that off. And now I'm going to do my multiplication and division from left to right. Not multiplication first and then division, just left to right. So I have 3 divided by 3 plus 4 times 2. So going left to right, I first see 3 divided by 3, which is 1. And then I see 4 times 2, which is 8. And I have a plus sign in the middle. I can't forget about that. Okay? So I took care of my multiplication and my division all at once from going from left to right. And now I'll do any addition and subtraction. I only have addition. So 1 plus 8 is 9, and that's my final answer. Okay, in this problem, sometimes you'll get a problem and they will ask you to put the parentheses where they should go in order to get this answer. So it would ask you to place the parentheses to get 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try putting the parentheses in different places until I get 2. It's really just a guess and check method. So I'm going to try here first. If I did that first, I would get, because PEMDAS tells me to do what's in parentheses first, so I'd get 26 times 2 plus 5. Let's write out PEMDAS so we can make sure we're following it. Okay, I did my parentheses. Which would I do next? I'm going to think to myself, do I multiply next or do I add next? PEMDAS tells me parentheses, exponents, then multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So I would multiply these two to get 52 plus 5. Now I can add 57. Uh-oh, I did not get 2, so I need to try those parentheses somewhere else. So I'm just kind of guessing and checking and thinking about where those parentheses would go to give me an answer of 2. I'm going to try them right here. So first I'm going to do my parentheses, which 4 times 2 is 8. So now I have 30 minus 8 plus 5. I don't have any exponents. I don't have multiplication or division, so I can skip all the way down to addition and subtraction. Remember, we don't do addition first, then 30 minus that. We just go left to right. So 30 minus 8 is 22, plus 5 is 27. Uh-oh, I still did not get 2. So let's try again. I'm going to go all the way back here in my steps, and we're going to try placing it somewhere else. I tried putting my parentheses around 30 and 4. I tried putting it around 4 and 2, so my last step, I'm going to try 2 plus 5. If I do that first, remember we always do what's in parentheses first, I get 7. So now I have 30 minus 4 times 7. I don't have any exponents. I'm going to do multiplication and division. So I'm going to look right next to this multiplication sign and see what numbers I have. 4 times 7, so that's 28. Now I can do addition or subtraction. And 30 minus 28 is 2. So I finally got my parentheses in the right spot to give me this answer of 2. Another type of question that you might see is asking you which operation do you do first. An operation is adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So in PEMDAS, and I'm running out of room here, but in PEMDAS, we do parentheses first, but parentheses aren't an operation. So in this problem, yes, I would do what is in parentheses first, but parentheses is not an operation. So once I look there, I'm going to see, well, what operation is inside the parentheses? And that's division. So the first thing I would do is, division, because that's what's inside the parentheses. So make sure you don't put parentheses. Make sure you're writing addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division if it asks what operation you're going to do first. Right, a third type of problem you might see is asking you to plug in values for x and y or whatever variables you have. Some people were asking me when we would start plugging in numbers for our variables, so here are some questions like that. The directions will say something like solve when x equals 2 and y equals 5. So in these problems, the first thing that you need to do is put in these numbers, 2 and 5, for the x and the y. Okay, but 4x right here means 4 times x. We talked about this today in class. So I'm going to write out 4 times 2 because x is 2. I can't just write 42 because that's not the same thing, okay? Then I'm going to go and look at the y, and I have a 3y down here, which is 3 times y, but I'm going to plug in that y with a 5, 3 times 5. So I can cross that out and replace it with 3 times 5. At this point, I like to rewrite my problem since it looks really messy, and this is what I get. So first things first, let's look at PEMDAS. I'm going to go ahead and write it over here. Okay. First, we need to do anything in parentheses. But in the parentheses, I have a couple different things. I have multiplying and I have adding. So do I go left to right, or do I follow PEMDAS again? Well, you need to follow PEMDAS again. So within the parentheses, I now look at PEMDAS again. I don't have parentheses in the parentheses or exponents, but I would do multiplying and dividing first before adding and subtracting. So 3 times 5 is 15. Then I'll add 10, which is 25. So this whole thing is 25. Okay, so I did my parentheses. I don't have any exponents. Now I'm going to do multiplication and division from left to right. So I have 4 times 2, that's 8. And then I have 8 divided by 2, which is 16. So this whole first part is 16. Can't forget this little plus sign. And I have 25. Now I can do adding and subtracting. And 16 plus 25 is 41. That's my final answer. Okay, you need to try these problems on your own. This is your homework. Some people have been confused as to what they need to do. You need to do these 2 problems and bring the answers back on a piece of paper tomorrow with your name on it. So I want you to try number 1. What operation would you do first in this problem? 6 plus 3 times 2. And then for number 2, I want you to solve this for when x equals 6 using the order of operations and PEMDAS. Good luck!